For the first time since the 2023 quote scandal, the sign stealing, the advanced scouting, whatever you want to call it, scandal, outside of the documentary, Connor Stalions has fired back. Why you as a Michigan fan should think this is a good thing and not a bad one. We'll get into that here on Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group, though I'm still not sure if I'll be your man on the ground for Big Ten Media Days. I have my flight. I don't have a hotel. I don't have anyone to watch Zuri. So I might be your man in Michigan while others are in Vegas. We have not decided that yet. Regardless, that's just me setting things up for next week. In case you missed it, Connor Stalions fired back at a Brett McMurphy tweet. I've seen some mixed reviews on that. We're going to spend the first two segments talking about why this matters, why these things are good, to kind of dispel some of even the Michigan things that are kind of going on in the background. And then finally, we're going to get into a little bit of the Rivals rankings. They switched things up. No longer is there on 3 in Rivals. I want to get into that just for a minute till we can have some recruiting talk. I want to thank all of our everydayers out there. Do appreciate you. And also want to thank all of you for making us your first listen. We do appreciate it. Let's get to the Connor Stalions stuff, which he called me pretty quickly after he posted this. And let's see if I can. Okay, there we go. Trying to use my left hand to use the mouse. Not simple for me. I am not that talented. All right. So Connor responded to a Brett McMurphy tweet on an article because for some reason Sonny Dykes, maybe he was asked, and even then if I was Sonny Dykes, I'd be like, put this in the past, whatever. To comments made all the way back in October 2023. At that time it was unnamed TCU staffers who claimed that, we knew of Michigan, what they were doing, and we changed things up just to mess with them, and everyone had a big laugh and what have you. And basically it was the same thing, but now it was Sonny Dykes saying it on the record, all of that. We knew it, we changed things up, it helped us out a whole bunch. Connor had a lengthy response on Twitter, which was heralded, I shouldn't say heralded, the opposite of heralded, but deemed to be like this crazy rant, unhinged. He's gone off the deep end, the Rivals say. This is anything but unhinged. This is methodical, thought out, right? Like it's not like it. Unhinged is what happens on this show most every day. I might look calm, but it's relatively unhinged, right? Like it's not very well thought out. It's just kind of pulling at different strings, and the marionette has no joints, and all the limbs are flailing everywhere. That's what this show tends to be. But this was not that. So he said in a course of 2 tweets, to be tipped off that your next opponent is good at stealing signals is like saying you were tipped off that you had an upcoming game. That was first tweet. Then he responded with a much longer one using the benefit of his verified status. To save everyone's time so that we can move on from the same recycled story from Coach Dykes, I'll provide some more details and we can wrap things up. Right? Because that's the thing. He's providing the details, right? That would be like, hey, you did something that, whatever, I don't understand it. I'm not saying I don't understand it, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it clear I don't understand it. And someone saying like, well, let me respond to you thoughtfully. That's what Connor did. And I'm going to get to the Michigan rebuttals as well as some of the rival rebuttals and then why it matters in segment 2. But let's just start here. He said, we lost because we turned the ball over and had a poor game tackling, and TCU played well. Congratulations. The same way we won the Natty when I was not with the program because we blocked well, tackled well, and took care of the rock. Welcome to the game of football. Since people are so intrigued by signals, the entire air raid communication system is the offensive coordinator signaling to the QB, then the QB signaling to the receivers. USC, TCU, etc. It's all the same. They're all the same signals too. And TCU kept everything from the coordinator to the QB the same, but had dummy signals and some new signals from the QB to the receivers. But that didn't matter because I'm watching the coach and seeing what they changed in real time. Similar to Ohio State, quote, changing their signals. They changed their route concepts and some run concepts, not their formations and pass protection signals, which is all I cared about. To say anyone fooled me is admitting that you have no idea how signal deciphering and protecting works. No team has ever, quote, changed signals, meaning they don't recycle the same signal to have a different meaning because that would confuse the 18-year-olds on the field more than it would confuse me. They simply create new signals, and if I see a new signal, I'm not guessing what it means. There were games where I relayed information 0% of the time, all the way through 99% of the time. No one is forcing you to signal. Rutgers and Minnesota huddled, didn't signal. Nebraska didn't signal until the second quarter when they were down 14-0. Even we, Michigan, didn't signal on offense. If you don't want teams to steal your signals, then don't signal. Any team that signals on offense is trying to force the defense to signal so they can steal it. There's really no other advantage unless you're trying to prevent a stub or it's 2-minute. If that weren't true, you'd see the entire NFL go up tempo to find advantages, but you don't. And it's still going on today in college with Coach Combs. Notice how teams still signal. It's because they're going up tempo. The continuous attempt to correlate signals to any wins and losses at Michigan is funny. There were 7 games in my time at Michigan where I knew almost every signal the whole game. 2021 MSU, 2022 MSU, 2022 Penn State, 2022 Ohio State, 2022 TCU, and 2021 Georgia, and 2021 Wisconsin. We lost 3 of those games because we didn't tackle well, and Georgia was historically good. We won the other 4 games because we dominated the line of scrimmage and tackled well. Blocking, ball security, tackling, run fits, and coverage tools. That's football. This is not rocket science. I thought that was extremely cogent and well laid out. If you disagree, it's usually because you've, as we'll kind of get into in segment 2, fed into a narrative. But that is really well thought out and really not different than what had been kind of explained to me by him throughout our conversations dating back to October 2023. And that's the thing about it, right? It's like, to understand sign stealing, which is not illegal, by the way. The argument by the NCAA is how he supposedly acquired said signals, of which, number one, I know there are people that vehemently say 100%, yep, it's against the rules. I understand that's the NCAA's interpretation. The rule is written, does not necessarily make it clear that his mom going and sitting at Ross-Ade Stadium is a clear violation, right? Number one. Number two, I mean, it's just a lot of conflation, right? Like, that's why you still see, people pointing out Adam King's video from the 2022 Ohio State game on the play in which Ohio State scored a touchdown and being like, look, see, he was pointing at pass play. They pointed pass play. We knew it. Wrongdoing. He's talking to Jesse Minter. Wrongdoing. Like, he's 100% allowed to talk to Jesse Minter. He was 100% allowed to do these things. That's what makes it all the much more fun, right? Is because you get all of these people that just are like, it would be like, oh my goodness, the head coach just talked to the quarterback. What's he doing? That's wrong. Like, no, you know what? Connor Stalions was employed by the staff to do exactly what he did. He was completely allowed to do what he did in terms of sign stealing. Whether he went too far or not, that is your prerogative. And chances are your prerogative is born of a narrative, which is what we are going to get into next. I guess we'll do that right now here in just a moment. But before we do, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you are tired of scrolling endlessly to try to find the best deal, well, guess what? Gametime's zone deals. Pick the best seats in your section for you. If you ever wonder what your view is going to actually look like before you buy it, then guess what? The app shows you a panoramic seat view so that there are no surprises when you get there. It's not like when I bought from Ticketmaster to go on a date back in 2006 to go see Wicked and we had a pole in front of us, right? So Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. The terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I know that if you have been into this show, at least going back to October 2023, then you have a pretty good idea of what is going on. But I still see a lot of the pushback, particularly more so with this incident in the Michigan circles. Multiple different boards, been perusing them. To some degree, have a laugh. At some degree, get frustrated because it's just like I hate seeing... I hate seeing just kind of the discord and kind of also the misunderstanding. Like people, Connor's a lunatic. He's so wild with all this. Why do you do this? Now, I think number one is because he didn't believe that this was like a rule that he was breaking, right? Like I saw some Buckeyes. He still hasn't apologized. Well, number one, you don't know what's happened closed doors or not. Because he isn't exactly like he's not going to go on social media. But by the way, I am sincerely sorry if he is sorry. I'm not saying that he is or not. I'm just saying that notion is absurd. NCAA, please take me away. Like, come on. Let's just be honest. That's the concern trolling. It's like the same level of concern trolling of the fake, the aghast, like, oh, you're promoting gambling on your podcast. How could you ever call yourself a Christian? Where are my pearls? Right? It's like that same thing. It's like you don't actually care. Right? Like it's not like Connor went and apologized on Twitter. Now the Buckeye Nation is satiated. They are letting it go. No, that's not happening. Right? The other thing is you see a lot of Michigan fans. Number one being like, I wish this dude would go away. That I see no way that this helps Michigan. They act like this is all loud, right? Like as if he like went, on a media tour. Like he sent this as a statement to ESPN and CBS and 24/7 Sports, which is part of CBS. On 3, right? Like he appeared on Good Morning America to be like, let me clear the air. That's not what happened. He tweeted, number one. And it's it's like disambiguation, it's delineation, it's making things clear where they otherwise are not, because otherwise, here's the thing. We have been sitting with narratives. Maybe I haven't, but even I sometimes I'll be talking to him and I will say something that is a narrative that was set by ESPN or rival fans throughout all of this. Okay. And, Connor being this loose cannon, wild gun, all of this stuff, you're taking your eye off the ball, right? Because what this was, it still is, no matter what. And I rival fans have fun clipping this. It still was a psyop to try to take down Michigan in the middle of what looked to be and ended up being a championship run. That still is what it was. That hasn't changed, right? Like the 6 p.m., 7 p.m. drop every single day. Like you could count it with the stopwatch. I would literally, to just give you some inside baseball, be on the phone with Connor as we would sit there and wait for the daily drop of some new groundbreaking information, some of which was, consequential to the narrative and some of it wasn't. But just that made it look like, because the whole point is not about Connor. The whole point was to take down Jim Harbaugh in Michigan in the middle of all of this. That was the point. I'm not guessing on that because I know a lot of what happened behind the scenes, and I'm hoping that a lot of this will come out. It doesn't do any good if I tell you, but a lot of people have kind of gotten it right on some of the boards and stuff. I think that I think that a lot of people have fed into the narrative, and that's why they're sick of it. Because here's the thing. Now, you're not going to be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's not happening, right? Like, there will forever be, it's going to be like 40 years from now, no matter what happens to either team, you're still going to hear Ohio State fans being like, back in my day, Michigan cheated. Right? Like, that's still going to happen. You cannot, you just look at politics in the world around you and recognize how many like myths and news items have been completely and thoroughly debunked or dispelled and continue to persist even within mainstream media, the legacy media, right? Like that's what happens. And it happens on either side of the aisle. I'm not trying to call out one or the other. That's just what it is. And you have to dig deeper. And in this case, you couldn't dig deeper unless you were talking to the source himself, because he was kind of barred from saying anything. Michigan didn't know what Connor knew. And otherwise, you had the narrative fully set by all of the powers that be in what is sports legacy media, right? And so when I see a lot of the whining from Michigan people that are like, I just wish this dude would go away. No, what you want actually is for the truth to be out there, whether he's the mouthpiece or someone else ends up being that. That's what you want. I know you don't think you want that, but it is. And like, because the truth will set you free. Bible very clear on that. And it's just true. And you know, I mean, I say that as if those two things aren't tied at the hip, but that, it is true. The truth will set you free. So you want the truth. And this is like a good first step, right? Because keeping in mind, Connor, as much as people say, I wish this dude would go away or whatever, like, so what, you want him to like just not exist, essentially. Because this is the first time that he's gone on social media and actually said, like, here's what happened. He has not been talking about, like, yeah, he did a couple podcasts. He did the documentary. But like, otherwise, like, this was the first, like, direct, like, I'm going to actually push back on something. And I think it was worth the time and the effort for him to do that, because there are so many things that have been out there, like Sonny Dykes, to the point where this has come out 2 years later. For what reason? Right? For what reason? Just to make Michigan look bad, essentially. Make Michigan look foolish. It's the same thing. I don't think Brett McMurphy was doing it because he had some, like, I'm not saying, oh, he's part of the PSYOP, he's in on it or anything. I don't think that's his mentality, but the narrative had been set already. So therefore, with Brett McMurphy, who I know and like, I've had some great conversations with Brett. I think a lot of you would love him too if you got a chance to talk to him. I think that he's doing it because he just started a new job at On3, and like, that's a story that's going to get clicks, that's going to get visibility. That's the whole, like, he's just starting out. He needs to have articles that are going to do exactly that, right? Because the narrative got set back in October 2023, October and November. Okay, so if you're a Michigan fan, you should want the truth to fully be revealed in every facet. And part of that is what actually happened, right? And to sit there and act like him coming out and actually explaining in great detail that it's unhinged or something of that nature, that's feeding into the narrative of the rivals. You're feeding into what the whole point was. Delegitimizing what Michigan became from 2021 to 2023, because Connor's right. Tackling, ball security, things of that nature are why Michigan was able to become what it became. Like, accountability. We were talking about a lack of accountability back when this podcast was relatively in its infancy, right? Like, we were talking about a lot of the things that Michigan fixed before they fixed them. We were talking about sign stealing well before. We're talking about sign stealing in 2019 on this show and why Michigan was out of it. I said this on the Maize and Blue review, Hail to the Podcast yesterday with Trevor McHugh. I don't harbor, when we talked about like Ohio State sign stealing, I don't harbor resentment towards Ohio State there. I respect them greatly as a program. Dare you to clip that, Ohio State bloggers. But where I held resentment is not the right word, but where I had criticism was on Michigan, right? Because Michigan did not acclimate well. And then once they did, as Trevor put it, leveled the playing field, that made some people angry. Take that for what you will. All right, let's get into the recruiting piece. We're going to do that here in just a moment. If you're watching and you're wondering what happened to my precious multicam, it will come back. I've made an executive decision to bring it back when I am not wearing shorts. It's too hot out to wear long pants, and it looks like very like weird just to be sitting there while wearing shorts and flip flops and whatever. But it's like 85 degrees, so we're not gonna bundle up. But it will be back, just not for the moment. Little programming note: plan is, whether this happens or not, and this has been long in the works. I'm talking years in the works. Not that it's been like a pressing thing, so it's not like we've been trying to get this going like every week, like, oh, we got to get this going. But it's like been talked about for years. Wednesday, it might be coming to fruition if everything goes to plan. Shea Patterson will be joining the show. As a Shea apologist, I'm very excited. So, that's the plan for Wednesday, and anything in between, I'm not sure, but we'll see. All right, let's get to the recruiting rankings. It's kind of a mixed bag with Rivals now, On3 switching over to Rivals, but it's their own ranking. It's right. It's like it's not the same team. I mean, it's got some people, but it's more the On3 people. They re-upped. They changed things up as far as their rankings, their proprietary rankings, which is going to change up everything from the 24/7 Sports Composite to the On3's industry rankings, or whatever it's called, Rivals industry rankings now, I guess. It's going to change all that up. But the biggest mover is Carter Meadows, who already was a 5-star, but he's up even higher. He's the 5th rated player in the country, according to Rivals. I think 24/7 had at least the composite had him at number 34 overall. Him moving up from what was like, I think 20th or so to that, I think that might be enough to get him to be a composite 5-star. So for those of you who were like freaking out and being like, he lost his 5-star when he never really actually had, like, that's, there you go. He'll probably gain it back. But Brady Smigiel did lose his 5-star. He went from being on the old Rivals, he was a 5-star, and now he dropped all the way to like 290 something or whatever. He's like down there. So take that for what it's worth, right? Like, is he a stud quarterback or not? Right? Like, we played this game with Jaden Davis. I think Brady Smigiel, having watched some film since then, based off his release and all of that stuff, I think he is, no offense to Jaden Davis, I think he's at least more primed to have success in college. Like, Jaden's still working on it, but like what we saw in the spring game wasn't good. Davis family, if you're watching this, my apologies, but that's just the truth. So I think Brady Smigiel is certainly more poised, but like, is he like that 5-star? I don't think he's that either. But that they're in a good place, right? Like, he's a good follow-up to Bryce, because he'll be behind Bryce for 2 seasons at least. Michigan will probably bring in another quarterback next year, right? Like, and the transfer portal exists. So it makes, that's kind of what you want, right? For a guy to be able to come in and, Michigan can work with him, make things happen the way they want to, all that kind of stuff. So I think that is a positive. The place where I have a big disagreement with is Zion Robinson. 4-star everywhere else, was a 4-star on Rivals, 3-star now on the old Rivals. Now he's 3-star. I think that one's pretty egregious. I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, it's give and take. So that's another take. Obviously, size, speed, hands, all the things that Zion Robinson has. I mean, you would think he's definitely higher than that. I don't know their reasoning behind that, but and that's kind of where you can choose your own adventure, right? Like, you've got 24/7 with him as being a solid 4-star. Okay, go with that. But then Alistair Vallejo, who was more lower rated, has moved up to being a consensus 4-star now. So that's a give, right? So that's good. All in all, it's just fodder, regardless, right? Like, it's all fodder. We've seen 5-stars come to Ann Arbor and fail. We've seen 3-stars come and thrive. Heck, some guys were like kind of 2-stars. Ronnie Bell, Josh Patelis. So I think that this is great to talk about. I don't think it matters. Like, we as our position on this show is generally don't stargaze too much, right? pay attention, recognize like when they are like widely considered by people who have eyes for this for a living, think that they're going to be really good. I think that at that point, you've got to be like, okay, like, good job, Sharon Moore, for being in the same world of identity. But then you think of like at this time in his recruiting cycle, Mason Graham was a 3-star, either committed or recently decommitted from Boise State. It goes number 5 overall. Kenneth Grant, according to some, was a 3-star. I have a whole article, and I think we did a show on it from back a couple months ago. So anyhow, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Thank you to all of our everydayers. We do appreciate it. And we will talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.